If I were to start all over as a graphic designer, here's what I'm going to do. Number one, I'm going to start by understanding what graphic design is all about. So the very first thing I want to do when I want to learn graphic design, let's say I'm starting all over again, is I want to really understand what graphic design is all about. I want to get to know end to end what graphic design is really all about. So I get to understand that graphic design is a means of communication, is a means of using elements, means of using principles, means of using my design to actually communicate a message. And the next thing what I want to do is I want to learn and digest the principle of design. So I want to really understand each of the principle of design. Why should I use these principles? How should I use these principles? What are these principles and how do they affect my design? So I want to get to know in depth on each of the principles of design and how they actually affect my designs in general. And number three is I want to apply these principles on my design. So let's say I'm learning about a particular principle, let's say hierarchy. So I want to start practicalizing that. So let's say you can actually get the theoretical knowledge of the principle, but I also want to practicalize that particular thing that I'm learning. So I would start by practicalizing the principles, applying them on my designs one by one. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to get them to be part of me. Number four is I want to understand each element in depth. Now, the elements of design are what we use to actually make designs design, right? So I want to understand each of the elements of design. I want to understand the font, how the font works, the psychology behind the font. I want to understand the image, the color, the shapes, and many of the elements of design. Next thing is I want to start by practicing creating designs 2 times in a day. 2 times in a day. I'm going to be doing this for 60 days. So I'm going to be practicing designs every single time, like 2 designs per day, not creating designs from scratch. I'm just taking a design, I'm going to be recreating that particular design, and I'm going to be doing that I'm going to do that 2 times for the next 60 days. The next thing I'm going to do, which I would have done prior to this, is I'm going to get a tutor. I'm going to get a tutor or get a mentor, and I'm going to be following that person, making sure that the person is ahead of me and the person is able to guide me. So a tutor is very, very paramount to me. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a niche. So I'm going to choose a niche which I feel I can work very well with, a niche that I actually enjoy working it. So I might actually choose to be probably a product flyer designer, or probably an information flyer designer, or I can decide to go into any kind of thing I actually want to go into. So I would actually pick a niche or a type of graphic design that I want to go into. Probably I want to be just a logo designer or just a flyer designer. So I want to get to actually niche down to a particular thing and gain mastery in that particular thing I'm niching down to. The next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be studying 5 designs in that niche every single day, and I'm going to be documenting what I'm learning from each of these designs. Studying of designs is something that I'm going to be doing a lot more if I'm getting started afresh as a designer. I'm going to take people's design, I'm going to start studying them, trying to look at how the elements come into play, how they actually use these elements to create these designs. What are the things in this design that actually look interesting? What are the things on this design that actually make them look so appealing to me? So I'm going to be studying as much as 5 designs daily, and I'm going to be listing out, I'm going to be writing out what I actually learned from them. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be following top designers in my niche. So let's say I decided to be a flyer designer. I'm going to go on platforms like Instagram, probably Behance, Pinterest. I'm going to be following designers that are way better than me in that niche. I'm going to be following them because I want to consistently get inspiration. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be sharing my works for correction and for criticism, and I'm going to be accepting this criticism. I'm making sure that I am learning them, I'm accepting them, and then I'm putting them to use and becoming a better designer. So I'm going to share my work and getting corrections so I can become better. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be learning how to sell my skill. So as time goes on and then I keep improving, I'm going to learn how to sell my skill, because having a skill without getting clients or getting people to work with might end up in frustration. So I'm going to be learning how to sell my skill. I'm not going to assume that I know how to sell. No, I'm going to actually give myself to learning how to sell my skills. If you're just getting started as a designer, I'm sure these processes are going to help you to become better and become very, very good at your skill. If you got any value from this video, make sure you drop a comment below and make sure to subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much for listening, and see you in the next video. Peace.